Hello and welcome back to my channel, Thrifty Day. My name is Leah. I'm the creator behind Thrifty Day. Today's episode is going to be a journal with me, and I would like to show you a little bit how I mix vintage ephemera with modern ephemera. So I go live on Patreon 3 times a week, and one of my favorite lives that I get to do, usually about once a month, is I get to open Happy Mail from my community. And I have the most wonderful, thoughtful, kind, supportive, and generous community over there. We love to send each other pen pal mail. And everything you are looking at here are bits of paper and precious wallpaper and stationery and cards that have been sent to me in Happy Mail. Some of it is vintage and some of it is modern. I would love to do a whole layout where I put all of these beautiful pieces together in some sort of cohesive way so that I could document my dear friends from over on Patreon while also making sure that they are displayed in a way that truly is a way that I can remember it and look back years from now and remember how happy this little community makes me. What I love about this Happy Mail is it really is all of my favorite things. You see vintage things, you see dogs, you see Van Gogh, you see floral elements. So many of these things are dear, dear, wonderful things to me, and I'm just so lucky. So this is Van Gogh washi tape. I have to put this in the layout too. There are just so many beautiful things. So let's get started. I think the most important component when you are journaling in any way is to try to practice not overthinking. And you may be saying to yourself, well, how on earth do you practice that? Well, let me give you a couple of ideas. One idea could be perhaps getting a practice journal. And I know you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is supposed to be a hobby. I don't know that I need a practice journal. You don't need one, but I find that a practice journal could also be something that is supportive to you in some way. I have a junk planner that I work in every single day. And in that junk planner, I make lists. I also have monthly calendars. But I also, one day every week, and I do it on a live over on Patreon, I add a lot of personal ephemera into that particular journal. And I just add it in a fun, haphazard, chatty way. There is no rhyme or reason. It's just something I love to do, and it's something that, you know, sort of keeps my ephemera from overflowing on me. So while that's not exactly a practice journal for the sake of only practice, it is a place that I don't feel any pressure. I don't feel like I have to make some sort of beautiful creative layout. They are just layouts that are simple and fun and a place to store things. Another album I have that I guess could also be considered a practice journal of sorts, but also is something that I cherish, is my pen pal album. I have a whole album that is a disc planner removable page album that I only put pen pal mail in. And again, there's no pressure because I'm not trying to make sure I hit milestones or cover birthdays or holidays. It is literally just an album I open when I receive Happy Mail, and I put it in there, and it's a place where all of my beautiful Happy Mail has a home. It's something I love, and it's beautiful on my shelf. So if you're someone who really struggles with overthinking, that is something to consider. It doesn't have to be a practice journal for the sake of practice. It can be something also supportive to your lifestyle, but I do recommend doing that, perhaps even before you jump into a full-blown creative memory-keeping journal, especially if it's not something you've ever done before. It can be a wonderful, happy place where you don't have to overthink. You can just put in your personal ephemera or pen pal mail in any sort of way. It doesn't have to have any rhyme or reason. It doesn't have to have a schedule. You don't have to do it every day. It can just be there when you need to practice not overthinking. So for me, I have actually journaled in this sort of creative memory keeping manner for the better part of about 30 years. I've actually shared many of my journals dating all the way back to the 90s, and I do journal in this way. Of course, my style has evolved. A lot of those journals just have pictures with tape and flyers with tape and ribbons with Scotch tape. My style has evolved as it's been influenced by things I've seen, mostly here on YouTube, creators that I love. And so for me, I find mixing vintage ephemera and modern ephemera to be really a beautiful thing, but I can see how that can be confusing and kind of chaotic to somebody who may not be used to this style. You may look at that vintage wrapping paper and the modern sort of cardstock and think, oh gosh, those don't really go together. But in my brain, it's okay, because honestly, it is something that I have, I guess, practiced for many, many years. And it's something that I love to do. So when I am looking to create with vintage and modern, I am looking to somewhat coordinate either colors or themes. And I say that very loosely because, as you can tell, this isn't all exactly cohesive. But I see, you know, the vintage wrapping paper with the dogs and some cute prints on there. And then I see this modern, what was actually from a calendar with floral images on the front. And I do think they complement each other in some sort of way. And I think those yellow flowers look really pretty, sort of layered over that yellow dog wrapping paper. So when I'm looking to marry old with new, that is something I look for. Cohesive themes, cohesive colors, cohesive styles. On the opposite page, you can see that I used that page from an old hymnal and I layered it underneath a modern piece of cardstock that I just cut the center out of. And I just love the way that looks. I love that sort of that old print of the hymn peeps through that really pretty floral frame. And I added that flip through, and I didn't want to add a lot of washi tape, but I wanted to make sure my page was secure. So of course I'm just adding some of that fabric tack right down the side to make sure that when I use that flip out, it stays nice and secure through the years. I love this little note card. It was sent to me in some happy mail. It is so precious. So I'm actually going to glue it right to the page because that's where I'm going to do my journaling. That's actually another question I get a lot. I get asked often, how on earth do you journal or do any sort of written journaling on a layout like this? And I love to just use what I have available. And for me, what I have available is this vintage card. And you will see, I'm going to do my written journaling off camera, but you'll see at the end how I just use that card to put my written journaling in. So like I said, all of these pieces were sent to me in Happy Mail, and this beautiful piece with the birds and also the butterflies that I'm about to use look to me to be digitals, and they are so beautiful. They're die cuts. They came to me as die cuts, so perhaps they were cut out. I'm not sure. But again, I think that those colors, they're kind of muted colors, and those themes really do have a cohesive sort of look, generally speaking. And even if they don't, since I have practiced not overthinking creative or collage layouts, to me they look great. I'm not sure what everybody else thinks, but I think it's beautiful. I do just want to take a quick minute to ask you, if you haven't already, to be sure to hit that like button. It means so much to me. I love creating these videos, and I do hope that while you are here, you are enjoying them as well. Also, if you are new, be sure to leave a comment so that we can connect. If you are interested in additional content, lives, tutorials, digitals, pen pal goodies, all of that can be found over on my Patreon, and all of that information is linked in the description box below this video. So while you watch me glue these beautiful butterflies onto this page, and as you can tell, I always add that cap right back onto my fabric tack. It makes sure fabric tack lasts. It's just something that I do to get every single teeny tiny drop out of that glue because it is expensive. Anyway, while you watch me finish this layout, I would love to know, are you someone who is already creative journaling? Are you somebody who has a junk journal, a junk planner? Are you in a traditional planner? Do you love to scrapbook? Are you a card maker? Let me know in the comments down below. I actually asked this question over on Patreon because I was so curious to hear what types of memory keeping or planner creativity is everybody working on. And I was so interested to hear the huge variety of different journals and planners that people are working in. So I would love to hear, because I work in almost every kind you can imagine. I'm working in about 6 different either journals or planners at this time. I love every one of them. Obviously, not every one I work in every day. Some I only work in maybe twice a month. but I enjoy all of them. And I think it's a really fun way to not have any pressure in the process. I love knowing that I have certain journals that I can just work on maybe once a month. Sometimes I'll write a sentence in one every day, but nothing has pressure. It's all just something I enjoy. Anyway, so all that to be said, I would love to hear what your process is. And I will also say I have noticed over the past couple of weeks, it's very gradual, but I've noticed that my creativity is sort of moving towards more oranges and browns, more fall colors. I'm using my Tim Holtz Distress ink a little bit more. I feel a change coming. And I'm very excited because if you know me, you know I am the queen of Halloween and I love autumn. And hello, I am a vintage Christmas fan if there ever was one. So even though it's almost 100 degrees where I live, I still feel that change coming. And I am so here for it. I am ready for the holidays. So I had this one last little bit of vintage pen pal mail I had been sent, and it is this little piece of stationery, I believe. It is so pretty, and I just thought it would look so beautiful on this layout, but I really, really, really didn't want to cover the dogs. So I had this clear packaging that I had received some like little clips in or purchase clips in, and so I brought that out. I trimmed down the stationery. I realized I wanted the other flowers more, so I had to cut it down twice. It's fine, no big deal. And then what I decided to do was slip that little rectangle piece of stationery into the clear packaging so that I could do some journaling, but it would still just be like a lift up and it wouldn't cover the dogs. I just really wanted to see the dogs. If you know me, you know I'm a dog person. We foster dogs. I have dogs. I literally live for my dogs. I'm reading the book Fairy Tale right now by Stephen King. I picked it up having no idea that it was so focused on a dog, like the dog is the main character. I've been bawling. I'm almost done, and I've been bawling ever since I picked it up. So no spoilers, but I'm loving it. I'm very invested now. I'm very invested. No spoilers, but the dog's name is Radar. And all I'm going to say is that dog is literally my dog, Ellie. And so anyway, yeah, no big deal. Been sobbing for about a week, but no big deal. So now what you see me doing is adding odds and ends. I'm very happy with the look of this layout. I think we've married vintage with modern in a very seamless way. I think some people may look at this and think it's very, very busy, and that's okay. This style is certainly not for everyone. I never take offense to that. If this is not something that you would be able to do in your process, that's okay. I just hope if you're here, maybe you can appreciate my process, because I know I watch a lot of different YouTubes that don't necessarily reflect my style, but I still enjoy them. And I think that's a great way to support other artists and creators. So let me know if you have any tips regarding mixing vintage ephemera with modern ephemera. I think the best thing, in my opinion, that you can do is stick with colors and themes and try not to overthink it. But I'm sure I'm forgetting something. So if you have an opinion or something that you think would be helpful in that process, feel free to leave it down below, because not only would I love to hear it, I think other people commenting may also see a lot of value in that. I decided to do a little Van Gogh washi tape swatch sort of page on that half page over there. It makes me so happy. I love Vincent van Gogh. That art is so incredibly beautiful. I also decided to use a thin piece of that washi right down the center just to make sure nothing lifts, and I think it adds a little bit of color. And again, it's just something that makes me happy. The last little bit I'm going to do is add some ribbon down the center that came in the Happy Mail. I also have this little bag of goodies. There's no other way to say it. It just is. It's just little goodies. There's buttons, there's little metal elements, there's tiny metal stars. There's just a little bag of goodies, and it's just so adorable. I also kept trying to add that paintbrush, and it just didn't work. I really tried. It didn't work out. That's okay. But I want to add all of these tiny elements throughout the layout, mainly because I don't want them to get lost in my ephemera bin. I want to make sure I'm using things. So like this little origami dress, I just stick right inside that card where I'm going to do my journaling. And then I'm going to use fabric tack to add little wooden buttons and metal elements all around the layout. I'm just going to sort of scatter them in a haphazard way so that it looks organic. And all of these things I'm pretty sure are probably modern. The stars might be vintage, I'm not sure, but I just really loved all of it. I love little things, I just do. So this was a really fun part for me. I actually do scoops in my Etsy shop, and I know a lot of times people are like, what do you do with this? Well, I sort of felt like this was my own little scoop that had been sent to me. And so I was so excited to sort of just use it all over my layout. And so maybe if you're somebody who has ordered scoops in the past from myself or another creator, this is just a fun way to use them. All of those little bits and bobs, just use some fabric tack and stick them all over your layout. It will make you so happy. It certainly made me happy. And I have found that for this process, because I'm using little wood embellishments and little metal embellishments, that fabric tack really does the job and does it well. You could also use E6000, but that's like a very industrial strength glue that I don't think is necessary for this. You could also use hot glue, but I don't know how well metal would stick to hot glue. I don't think you would have the same longevity. I think the more you open and close your journal, that hot glue, the adhesive may not hold as long. So if you are going to use these little embellishments, I highly recommend getting some fabric tack, because I find that not only does it work very well, it works for a long time. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to layer this ribbon sort of like a bookmark, if you will. I'm just going to have it sort of draped in the middle of the layout. And this little sort of vintage style cross was in that little bag also. And so I'm just going to use a bulb pin. I'm going to stick it right in the middle. I'm going to make sure it goes through all of the layers so that it stays sort of like an embellishment on a bookmark. And this is my finished layout. I am so happy with how it came out. I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who sent me happy mail and inspired this layout. I have so much gratitude for this community. I appreciate each and every one of you, whether it's your first time here or your 100th time here. I am so grateful for your presence. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you were inspired. If you were looking for additional content, feel free to follow me on Patreon. You can also find me on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. So be sure to hit that like button on your way out. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate that so much. I hope everyone has a really great week. I hope that we are able to chat very soon, and I cannot wait to create another layout and spend some time with you. So thank you so much for stopping by. Have a really great one, and I'll chat later. Bye.